Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. So it's speculation time. We are at this point very close to something that has been predicted for quite a while, and it's very interesting because at the beginning of this year we had like whispers and people were saying things that were kind of similar to this, and the fact that we are now here is it's kind of game time. Everything that's kind of been predicted and everything that people have been talking about, we are now more or less a couple of days away from it. So I found this article, and I'm going to, as usual, I'll read through it a bit, and then we'll discuss it a little tiny bit because I think it's quite interesting, and I think everything is once again lining up to this one particular date or time or area. Bo Pollen, an analyst at Global Forecast 2020, said that the United States and global equity markets are on the verge of an imminent crash, which would translate into widespread adoption of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Bo Pollen said that the crashes of 1929, 1987, and the crash of 2008 had a rising wedge formation as well. The markets had a violent sell-off after breaking the bottom band of the wedge, causing a collapse. The Great Crash of 1987 had the same pattern, causing the markets to crash by 37% in a mere 760 days. The markets of 1929 had a rapid rise in a time frame of just over 600 days, which after the price crossed the bottom band of the wedge, markets crashed by 49%. Considering these observations, Bo Pollen said, the quicker the rise, the sharper the drop. Here is a little chart for those who are looking at the screen. The most important among these is a devastating crash of 2008, which caused a global meltdown of financial markets. In reference to the chart above, Bo Pollen pointed out that the Chinese markets topped in October 2007 and eventually broke support in January of 2008. The U.S. markets, however, broke the support 5 months after the Chinese markets did, and the crash happened in June 2008. Pollen said, the 5-month spread basically says that China historically has led the world market. Comparing the pattern to the present-day scenario, Pollen said that Chinese markets have crossed support precisely 4 months ago in July 2018, which means that the next month, November, the U.S. markets will plunge with China, end quote. Little side note, remember about 5 days ago, we had information in another video where people were talking about, it was the similar topic. It was about the, like a global meltdown, prices falling, what's going to happen. And in that entire article, the main thing that they were talking about was that China's growth had slowed down substantially and that they were showing early signs. Well, I assume at this point, if with the in-depth information that we have right now, apparently this has been happening for quite a couple of months. And typically, financially, historically, if history has told us anything about finance and stuff like that, for some reason humans are always the same and we keep repeating the exact same patterns. And I mean, it's fairly fascinating. This once again goes to what I was saying before. I was wondering for so long, and I guess now it all is beginning to make sense, why there was such a huge amount of movement towards the cryptocurrency market from people who were in Wall Street. Like I've said before, I'm not the TA guy. I don't do technical analysis. But I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other people who do, who may believe in it. And I'm pretty sure people have been looking at these charts, especially since we've had they've been saying that we've had a bull run, if you will, since like around 2009 or something like that. And we're at this time right now where a lot of companies people have been saying that companies are heavily overvalued. And it does seem to line up because what we heard before, especially if you've been paying attention for the last 10 years, people have been noting that the next crash is supposed to be something absolutely horrific. No one knows if that's going to be true, but it's supposed to be a lot worse than the 2008 crash. And this is where we get the idea that crypto is going to be the next major amazing asset class, because when the other old world market ends up dying, crypto will then take over. If you also remember in the last video that I had, we had a analyst or I can't remember exactly who it was who was talking about that. They were talking about Coinbase potentially becoming like the next stock market or being able to rival the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange, simply because they have the infrastructure already built up so that when companies in the future decide to tokenize their stocks and stuff like that, they can simply just give it over to Coinbase, which then would have Coinbase once again become a more of a market leader in this world where everything is digitized and cryptotized. I don't think that's a word, but you kind of get exactly what I'm saying. Here is another terrifying chart of where prices are predicted to go. Paulin finally pointed out to the double top formation in the Dow chart. I would assume that is here and that is here. When the US markets topped in January 2018 and successfully falling down to the support. This was successfully followed by a second top at the same level on October 3rd, 2018, thus completing a double top formation. A crash cycle began and the markets plunged by 1,600 points on the Dow. First of all, we started talking about this as well because the exact same time when we had it, so the dramatic drop that we had, apparently all the gains that had been had by the Dow Jones and I think the New York Stock Exchange and something else, their 2018 gains that they have had are completely gone, completely wiped out, and this is now causing a bit of a panic because people are saying, or rather other people are beginning to think and starting to pull their money out of the market, simply thinking if it has gone down before and we've lost all the money that we made in 2018, therefore this could continue to happen. Yeah, concluded by this point, Bo Pollen said, if markets don't crash hard enough, no one is going to buy Bitcoin. He said Bitcoin won't go up until people lose confidence in stock markets or equity markets, end quote. He says that the Bitcoin is in a descending wedge formation, which is the exact opposite of a rising wedge, obviously, that the equity markets are in. He said the fall of U.S. equity markets will cause a massive financial shift and money will flow into Bitcoin and other altcoins like Ethereum, Litecoin, XRP, and so on. This to me is excitedly terrifying. I read an article earlier and it was talking about, okay, first of all, there have been a lot of other, not even YouTube channels, but like a lot of other financial experts who have been recently for some reason talking about how much actual money is in the world and, you know, how much debt there is in the world. And it's like multiple $1 trillion. I think it's like $400 trillion in total inside the entire world. And the article that I was reading, they were talking about that they expect within the next 5 years, that is 5, that crypto could potentially be anywhere from wide range from a $5 trillion market to a $40 trillion market. The $5 trillion comes from normal adoption, i.e., backed New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, Fidelity, blah, 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 so and so and so. That is just the normal hype that'll, slowly tumble into the market. But the $40 trillion was if this actually does come to fruition. If everything that we've seen building up over the last 10 months, which I still think is a little odd, how many people shifted from traditional finance over into the cryptocurrency world and how much they boast about it now, I can only assume this was probably the point of no return for them in their minds, where they were or they came to realize, because remember, we also had a lot of crazy good news at the beginning of the month, and a lot of people in the especially in the comment section in the cryptocurrency community, kept on stating, why are we getting such good news and the cryptocurrency markets just aren't moving? What I find, I mean, it's not scary, but what I find terrifying about this is that, like, you've been waiting for something for such a long time. It's almost been this myth in the world that cryptocurrencies are going to have this amazing bump. And, when you expect something for such a long time and then you finally actually get it, it's a very weird feeling. So the fact that what ends up happening, if you haven't noticed before, is that during a stock exchange, millions of people around the world lose their jobs. It's a very horrible situation. And then on the other hand, you wonder, like, you kind of take a step back for a second. If you've been in the cryptocurrency space for even like 6, 7, 8, 9 months, you wonder, like, is this the moment? Like, is this, just to be frank, like, is this the moment where you become rich? Like I said, like, this has been prophesized for quite some time about this. I mean, to be completely honest, 10 years of a bull run is quite a long amount of time. So it kind of was probably going to happen eventually. But it's like, did we choose the right side? Like, are we on the right side of financial history, if that kind of makes any sense? This is why I mean, like, the whole, like, terrifying thing. Like, are we at the point right now, like, is this the day, is this the time right now where the stock market ends up crashing and people who are in the cryptocurrency market have that, like, major I told you so moment? Like, we knew that this was going to happen. Like, I already told you guys before, like, I'm pretty sure multiple people, whenever crypto does end up exploding, are going to have a lot of phone calls to make when they're telling people, kind of like a major I told you so type moment. This is another thing as well for that as well. Right, this is also tying into it. The fact that we have had so many things for quite a long time where people talking about that November is going to be the exact turning point, and I couldn't figure out once again why November was the time frame. We thought it had to do with BACT, but apparently now everyone and their mother seemingly knew that the world's financial systems were about to collapse because China had shown the beginning signs of doing it before. For those who are not unaware but haven't been paying attention to what's been happening in the news today, the cryptocurrency market had a little bit of a skid. Prices kind of tumbled down. People were kind of making it like this. People were, making it a bit more dramatic than it actually had to be. What I found interesting about the entire thing is, first of all, here's the actual chart of all the prices and stuff going down. It did hurt a bit. I'm not going to lie. When I actually opened up CoinMarketCap and I saw that all the prices had done this. If you remember a couple of months ago, there was Willy Woo. Yeah, there we go. Willy Woo. He made the prediction. He said that crypto was going to slide sideways. This was going to happen to the market and so. And then he said August 1st that he said Bitcoin's price would flash, dump, and then moon. And no one seemingly understood exactly what he was talking about. No one knows when any of this is really going to happen, but we're still in this very weird in-between situation. Depending on where you look for your news or where you kind of get your information as to what is happening in the cryptocurrency market and what's happening to the prices, a lot of people have been saying that Bitcoin's volume, and I guess in some universe as well, Ethereum's volume has been so low that it is translating into like less buyer interest, and therefore because the volume is so low, any type of sell-off in the market could then cause something like this, and it kind of causes the rest of the market to drop down. I still, for me, myself, my personal opinion, I have still thought of November and December as the times when the market was going to go up. I guess simply because maybe it was like a subliminal thing of everything that I was reading from the last couple of months where people were talking about that the market was going to go up in November. But it was also the time that we were promised, or rather told, that we were going to have the BACT thing opening up. And now we know that it's going to be the 12th of December. I mean, not really much more to say. There was also an article talking about how Tether is very close to hitting $1 again because people apparently pulled it out of somewhere and, excuse my language, and found, confidence once again in Tether. And therefore, they're buying back into the market. And also, you may have noticed as well, this says 1.926. The last time we were talking about Tether, they had 2.06 billion coins, and then it was, I think, 1.99 or something like that. So the people from Tether, as far as we know, are burning coins, quote unquote, or sending them to an address that does not have a private key, so you can't really access this account anymore. As far as we know, this is what we've been told. And it's expected that the amount of Tether will continue to decrease until, I think for them, it sounds like a believable number for the public to sort of, gain confidence in it once again. But I still believe that Tether should probably not be the number 8 coin. Just my personal feelings. Yeah, I guess that's more or less going to do it for this video. We are but a few days away from potentially something very great happening. It looks like the price is also trying to recover. I wonder the exact reason for this as well. As far as right now, I did not see any type of majorly negative news. Like, nothing was really floating around. There's a lot of stuff about like I think like Zcash like doing an upgrade or something like that, and something happened to Monero, and I think some other crypto company has finally launched their debit card, and so it's nothing has been nothing has been negative. But this has been, this has been catching me off guard. I guess I didn't realize how quick that the year had actually gone, and the fact that we are days away from November. Right. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, and or evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. It's a very interesting topic. Is this the moment? Like, is this going to happen? Like I said at the beginning of this video, speculation, hyper speculation. I've also heard a lot of other people before talking about that they thought that the stock market was going to crash in 2012, 2013, 2014. What's interesting about all of this now is that before we had, or rather I was listening to a whole bunch of people who were talking on blogs and stuff like that, and we didn't have indicators and stuff like this that kind of show that the market might not be doing too well, especially because of all the talk that we have. Like, we didn't have all the talk in 2012 about like trade wars. And if you've been paying attention to what's been happening around the world, not even just in the States and in Europe, like the current world situation is a bit out there at the moment. A lot of countries are not doing too well. A lot of countries, not even like wars and stuff like that, but like economic policies are kind of all over the place. Hyperinflation, a lot of scuffles and stuff like that. And I didn't mean to end it on like I guess not really a depressing note, but it's just kind of more realistic than anything. I will definitely, without a doubt, I'm going to be keeping track of every single moment of this as best I can. Unless I'm like sleeping, then I won't be able to do it. But this is something that has interest. I've been into crypto since at least 2012, 2013 or something like that. This has been on my mind for quite a long time. And to see, flashes of what could potentially be a world where Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and all the other coins ends up, taking over, and we as potential early adopters are allowed to then benefit from it the most because we got into it early enough than everybody else. Like I said, I have a strange, inkling that even if the stock market does crash and Bitcoin does start to skyrocket, I don't think that the other people, such as Fidelity and New York Stock Exchange, blah, 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 will market Bitcoin to normal people until Bitcoin is over 100,000. And I mean it as far as when you take a bus, when you take a train, when you take a tram, when you're walking down the street, when you open your phone, you have an ad or something like that, and you see that it's always something on the street where they're telling you it's always those photos of two old people hugging each other, smiling like they're looking at a book, and it's have you prepared for retirement? And it's telling them to buy certain things, to be able to prepare for their golden years. That's not going to happen for Bitcoin, in my opinion, for quite a long time. I think the people who are into it, the people who are trying to build the infrastructure, they're going to make sure that they can get as many Bitcoin, XRP, Litecoin, Nano, I don't care what it is, as many of them as they possibly can before they even think about marketing it to quote unquote normal, everyday, average people, because they are the richest people in the world. And I'm almost certain at this point that they definitely want to stay there. But yeah, thank you once again all for watching and or listening. I hope you all enjoyed. I will definitely keep you all up to date with all of this that's happening. Thank you once again for watching and or listening. I do appreciate all your support, more than you can possibly begin to imagine. And I'll talk to you all soon. See you.